All right. So yesterday we wrote this, we added a bunch of classes to this file utils that we wrote several weeks ago, so that because there's no way to append data with simple Swift functions. So we had to get into some of the Objective-C functions. So we wrote a, did we not finish the append? Didn't we? Well, that's weird. I guess we didn't. So we need to write our append file. I thought we did. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
No?
Because we went through and
We got the exists.
yeah, you did the exist, and then we fixed the read file and the write file.
Oh yeah, and then we ran, okay.
And ran out of time.
Okay. So today we are going to add the append because there's no other way to do this. So I thought it would be nice to put it in this class. Now I could just show you the append stuff and we could put the append over in the save block, but we're also trying to teach you how to program. So making these classes makes this whole thing reusable. I can take this now to the next app I write, so it makes it a lot more functional. So I'm going to write a method called append file that takes data as a type string, and I'm going to have it return a bool so that I can say like true or false. And I decided that my main program shouldn't have to worry about whether the file exists or not. It's just going to give it a file name and it expects it to be there, and it's going to append the data to it. So if it's not there, we have to create it, right? So inside of this method, I'm going to say if my this one, I want to show you this. This kind of irritates me. If the file doesn't exist, then I need to create the file. So that's why I have my internal, this is now, create file is my method from up here. And we're going to use our output data. And it comes up with an error here that irritates me. It says unary operator cannot be separated from its operand. That means I can't put a space. Seriously? I can't put a space there? I like it a space because it separates it out. That's how I write code. So that just irritates me. So you have to put a bang right next to whatever you're doing there. And then I like to write my code with a return value to start with and then change it so I assume that this is going to fail. And at the end I do a return of my return value. That's just the way I write code. So this is a start. If the file's not there, it's going to create the file. And remember, where does it get the file name? He wasn't here, I know. Can't let. Remember, when we create the file, we create an object from the file utils class by instantiating it, and during the initialization, we pass in the file name. So the file name is in this object, so I don't have to pass that around or pass it into the method or anything. So it makes it nice. All right, so then we need to have a try block. And we need to get a file handle, and it's going to come back as an optional so that we can because that's what it comes back with. It could have an error, or it could have an actual something in it. So we can test that to see if it has something in it. So we're going to do the let. So we're going to go to the file handle class, which is lets us get at the data at a lower level than just the write and the read that we wrote before. So we're going to open this for reading, and if you look at it, there's a few. I can open it for reading, for updating, for why am I doing reading? I'm not doing reading. Updating, writing at path, writing to URL. And so we want to do a writing at path. And the path that we have is stored in our object as a path URL now instead of a path name. Because we're on the device, the iPhone device, everything works with URLs instead. All right.
Does Android work with
Yeah.
URIs?
Yeah, same concept though.
Okay.
Yeah. So that opens the file, and then once we have file, file is a NS File Manager object, so we can do that type of stuff with it. So we can say, I want to seek. I have to actually tell it to seek to the end of the file. I have to tell it. Why is this having a problem here? Oh, so they have, and they're inconsistent. We showed this yesterday. They have a for writing at path, and in this case, they actually do have a for writing at URL. So we want to write to the URL, and we pass it a URL. And then, why doesn't it like it now? Argument labels for writing do not match any available overloads. Really? Oh, why did I for writing to URL? That's, I don't know, I got the IntelliSense wrong. So we're writing to the URL and we're passing it the path URL that we have stored in the object class again. Seriously?
Oh my God.
What am I doing? NS file handle to specified type, NS file manager.
Can't convert file handle to file manager? This language is going to be the death of me.
Yeah, it is. It's really let file, NS file. Oh, I'm just writing it wrong. Yeah, so we will have a catch. Just give me a chance to write it. Okay, so, geez, I don't know why I was typing all over. So this is like opening a file in Ruby. We get a file object, we do an open, and then we can use that file object to do stuff too. And they don't have a nicer way to do this, so I have to tell it to seek to the end of the file. And now this comes from way back in the 70s. Seeking deals with tape drives and the old tape drive systems where you had, and you see them in the movies, where you got a spool of tape on this side and over here, and it runs through like a tape recorder, a reel-to-reel tape recorder. And that's how they stored stuff. And so you had to seek to positions and write your data on that little piece of tape, and then you could seek forward and backward and move the tape around.
So like trying to write a specific piece of data to a specific spot
exactly.
on the hard drive.
Exactly.
You would have to,
And you had to care about where that was back then. Now, the operating system takes care of most of that for us. So, but we still have to say, we could actually seek to the middle of the file and write something over the top of what was there, if we wanted to.
Now, if you
And you would use that maybe for a database that's got fixed records in it or something like that.
If you would like seek to middle, how does it, I mean, just
It's
take, like,
it's
how
a
many lines it has
it's
and write it
bytes.
in
It's
bytes?
bytes. Yeah. So we go to the end of the file, and now that we're at the end of the file, we can now write the data. So we say, come on. We want to write our data, and our data is our output data, but that's a string, and it wants it to be encoded in UTF-8. So we're going to say data using encoding, and the NTUTF-8 string NS UTF-8. I don't know why it doesn't give me yeah, until I type 5 characters. Then you think it would come up a little faster than that.
Even Windows.
I know, come on. So we write it, I'm missing something here. Okay, so it's not unwrapped, so we'll unwrap it. And that will write out our data as bytes to the file at this position, which is at the very end. And once I'm done with that, I have to close the file just like I do in other languages, Ruby. And since that all worked correctly, I'm going to set my return value to true. So that means that I wrote correctly. Otherwise, the catch is going to, we use the same catch that we've done before. And I'm just going to print out file error in pending and print out the actual error. And at this point, if the catch happens, what is retval equal to?
False.
False, because I set it up here. So I assume that it's false, and only if it does correctly do I set it to true, and then I return that value at the end. A lot of code to write a stinking file, let me tell you.
You know, if
You
the
think that-
writers of this language, if their goal was to make it, you know, just complete gibberish from
Yeah.
from somebody who knows how to program to look at this language.
Yeah, really, they succeeded there.
Yeah.
They could do so much more by making us functions that do all of this for us.
Yeah.
Why do I have to write that?
But
If they want to be a modern language, then do that. Let's be modern. I shouldn't have to care about all of this minutia here.
how long has Swift been around?
Just 2 years. And it's already gone through like 3 major revisions. So they're adding stuff all the time, and hopefully it will mature and fix these problems. And their idea was to make it more appealing to developers, because Objective-C this is more like Objective-C coding. Just a lot of wordiness and square brackets, and it's just not fun. All right, so I think we have the only last method I want to write was clear file, so that we could clear our log, but we'll do that later.
Hold on, Nick, I don't have that
NSUTF-8.
Yeah.
It's somewhere else in here. You can copy it from like the read file.
Oh, yeah. What is it? Hold up.
Their IntelliSense is kind of goofy.
Yeah, it is. And at any time, if you click, they do have some help over here, which is nice. If I click on a method, write data, over here it shows you what it does,
Oh, wow.
which is kind of nice if you select the question mark. This
that's
is the
nice.
properties of that file, but the question mark is a quick help, so
Right.
there's nothing for let, create file, there's nothing, because that's my method. But there are ways of writing,
Can you write your own help for a
yes,
function?
you write some comments above the create file, and
And it imports them in.
and it puts it, and it automatically figures those out, so that's
Nice.
kind of cool. I'll have to, we'll show that someday. You got it, Sergey?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so now we have our class all written. Let's go to our saved data. And all we did so far was print those 4 text fields to the screen, to the log down here, the output log. And we now want to actually save the data to a file. So, I modified this. I initially wrote something like this: if log, well, I have to say let my, wait a second. Huh. Oh, okay. So I made an object, because we're going to be using this a lot. And I need an object from my file utilities class, right? So I need to say log file equals my file utils, and we call the constructor with the file name, and I'm going to call it bmi log.txt. So that creates a file utils object, and we can do all the file utils stuff with it, right? So in our save data, I originally wrote this to say if log file dot file exists, but I moved that into the append, so I don't really need to check this anymore. So I can just say log file dot append, and we'll call it our data is some string, which is this string. This is what I want to print out. So instead of just printing it, let me save this. I'll call it log entry is a string, and I'm going to take the spaces out because it's a CSV file that we're creating. And that string will be my log entry.
Same kind of file we did in Android, right?
Yeah, exactly. And now I can print that log entry as well. So that appends it to the file. And I wanted to show the log file so far. So after it appends it, I want to print, just for debugging purposes, my log file dot read file. So that'll read the whole file and print the whole file to the disk. I mean, not to the disk, to the screen, to the output window. All right, so we create a string with what we want to save. We get those from the text fields. I append it to my file that I already have created. Remember, the file name gets put in the constructor. So log file already has the name. I don't have to worry about that at all. So that it makes the coding on this side of it a lot easier. I've encapsulated a lot of functionality in my file utils that once I've written, hopefully we'll never have to deal with again. All right.
Is what you're going over now, is that for the BMI calculator or the one after it?
The next screen. So it's from the calculator, you click save log entry, or it goes to weight log, and then that switches to a new screen. And from there, you can add the date and time of that event, and then we're going to save that entry.
Well, I mean, is that part of the assignment that's due on Friday, or are you
No,
working on
that's
the ones after it?
that's above it. Yeah,
Okay.
the next week. Yeah, this week is only the BMI calculator, right? Yeah.
Or, well,
So I'm ahead of.
calculator.
Yeah, for the diabetes calculator for you guys. So here's my calculator. This is what you guys are creating for Friday
Beautiful.
with a diabetes instead. So I can put in my height and my weight and calculate it and hit log this data. And we talked before about how we pass that data from one view to another. And then we can type in a date. What is today? 6, I don't know. And it's 10:57. And so saving the weight log here goes out, and it says saving weight log. That's the data it got from the 4 fields, and it printed it to the file.
Nice.
Nice, eh?
It's actually pretty smooth.
Yeah, not too bad. And so, but what's the problem with this? I think I had already printed one before. No, it has to do with, I'm printing the log data. Let's say print entire file so I can see that. And let's add another character return in here. And let's save it again. So I'm going to save it. And my entire file looks like this now. So why do I have that all on one line?
Because you didn't add any new lines when you told it to, right?
Yes. So the log entry that I'm creating, this string, has to have a character return in it in order for me to have a CSV file completely. So each log entry is its own set. I did that on purpose. I did. Seriously. So put some more data in here. Save it and save it again. And so now I'm going to have my character returns. So every record is going to have that. Every line. All right. Any questions on that? Not too bad. But the next thing I came up with was, because I have these this data here that initially was bad, I really need to get rid of this. And so it would be nice, or if my log file gets too big, I want to clear the log, I want to destroy all the old data, I want to be able to do that. So I want to add some functionality to my view so the user can clear and destroy the log file.
You just have them delete it and recreate it?
Yep. Actually, let's see. How did I do it now?
Open it, delete everything, and then...
There's a method called Truncate file at offset. Typical long method name. Yeah. Sorry? You gotta speak up.
I have a breakpoint coming up on the usual. Like every time I run and save,
Yeah.
When it prints to the console.
Did you,
But they are, they read pretty good. All right, so during pausing, I was just explaining this ternary, and we played around with that. Anyway, where was I? I was going to clear the data. Oh, first of all, I wanted to show where that file is on the disk, because sometimes it's nice to be able to see that. And so I want to print out the path name for that file util object that we created. So where is it sending it to it? So in my file utils, let's just add a print, which is bad, but I just want to show you what the path looks like in the simulator that we're running, because we can actually go to that file and open it with a text editor if we wanted to. So this is printing the URL that got created by all of the components that we passed in. And this just gives us a string representation of this path URL object. That's like a toString. So
and you don't like that because it's printing from a function?
yeah, from a class.
Class.
Yeah. So let's run it and log this data and say save wait entry. And where is it?
Is it the optional all the way up?
There it is. Yeah, there we go. So this is the path to that BMI log.txt. And this is some number generated by the simulator for our application. And so it's got, these are like random numbers that the simulator keeps track of. But I can copy this entire piece and go,
on that on accident.
no, and go to the Finder, and I can say go to folder, and I can type in or paste in the name of my file, this long thing here, and that takes me to the folder, the documents folder where it is, and I can open it and see the data directly. So that's kind of cool.
I thought it was a CSV file.
It is. I called it .text.
Oh.
Do we want to call it something else?
No, I just.
I would. It might make sense. That was where I created it.
That makes perfect sense. It's just.
So let's do a CSV instead. So now when I run it, it will create a new file. And let's see if it actually does. So part of the problem is every time I run this, that folder gets destroyed. So that's not so much fun. You can't.
How far up the chain do they get destroyed?
All the way through the container, I believe, this application. Let's see.
So you can't even really sit ahead of it and just go into the folders
So there,
every time very easily.
that lets me go. See if I can get any farther. See if I can just go here. Nope. So this application gets a new unique identifier every time I build it. So these are all the different times that I ran it. And each of the apps comes with these folders that I can play with. So So that's why I ended up printing it, so I could see it every time and I could look at the file. So go save the data, and this is my file name. It's now a CSV. Can go to folder, and now I've got a CSV file. And
Oh,
it
still
actually
separates it out like.
yeah, so I could actually open that directly with Excel.
With Microsoft Excel?
Yeah.
Which will screw up all your numbers.
Yeah.
Did you know they, Windows is changing, Windows 10 now to a recommended update? So like, if you have, whenever I install.
So, all right, so we can save the file. We did our nice little savey file thingy here. So let's add a button. Come on. To our, boy, that got slow. Come on.
Probably Excel.
Yeah, it probably is, actually. Get rid of that guy. Excel uses a lot of resources, that's for sure. All right, so let's go to our logger here, and let's add a button that lets us clear the file. So we'll call it clear log file. And we drag from there to create an action. And we're going to call it clear log file. And it's a button, it's going to be an action. And a touch up inside, just like we always do. And then inside of here, I want to call my file log file dot clear file, which I haven't written yet. So in our file utils, we need a new method. This is called the beach ball of death.
The beach ball of death.
Beach ball of death. So it used to be really bad in older versions of the Mac operating system. Anyway, so we're going to have a clear file. So we'll create a new function, clear file. Takes no arguments, doesn't return anything, so we don't care. And we still have to do a try catch and do the same thing kind of that we did for here. We got a handle, so I'm going to copy this completely. We got a handle to the file.
You have to do a try because the file might not be there, right?
Right. Where did I get it? Here it was. So I'm going to use this code. That's the same thing. I need a file handle. And boy, just auto formatting would be nice. Just some basic, simple things. And once I have the file, I can do, gee, that was laggy. I can do filey stuff with it, and there's a method called truncate file at offset. And the offset we want to give it would be what, do you think?
The end of it?
No, truncate would be from that point forward.
from the beginning.
So it's from the zero position. And then we have to close it and have our catch. And we'll just print out our error file there.
Typing skills. Gotta teach Tom.
Yeah, really. So catch, I need a opening brace here. All right, so that's our try catch more or less with the try embedded here, which is strange for me to write that. I have to look that up all the time. It just doesn't flow like the other languages. I don't know.
Pretty painless though.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So now my clear file is called from my button over here, and everything's happy. So let's go clear it out.
The auto format in Xcode is horrible.
Yeah, it is.
I had to
really
change
bad.
my indent size to 2 spaces because, I mean, it ended up.
It goes too far, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely. I should do that. So let's save some data and let's go look at the file in the Finder. Huh, that's interesting.
How did you do that? The paste.
It's Command C for copy and Command V for paste, but the command is the Windows key on a Windows box. Yeah, it's a Windows key. What was I doing? Somehow I didn't get it right. All right, so there's my file. There's my CSV file. It's got data in it. And let's clear it. Clear the log file. And it should be gone now. All gone.
Beautiful.
Isn't that exciting? It's just so exciting. All right, so we have, that's the next assignment. We're all done with the next assignment. We're way ahead of where you guys are actually coding. So, all right, any questions on all of that? Yeah, what do you want? You want to see the code or you want me back there? Just stop.